from Channel 4, the local station. This is a Vote 2023 update.
Good evening, everyone. A stunning turn of events, an historic city election. The pollsters and the political pros predicted it would be close, the most expensive mayor's race in Jacksonville city history. And right now, you're looking live. Democrat Donna Deegan has defeated Republican Daniel Davis by 8,000 votes out of more than 210,000 cast. Let's listen.
I love y'all so much. We made history tonight. It is a brand new day for Jacksonville. And you know what? You know what the best part is? Love won today. As much as I wanted to win this race for the people of Jacksonville, I wanted love to win. I made a decision when I got into this race that no matter what happened, no matter what the landscape looked like, we were going to lead with love over fear. We would not go with division. We would go with unity. Because we have to bring this city together. I got to tell you, I've been carrying around this picture of my grandfather. That's Pop. If I had a picture this little of my dad, I would have carried it around with me too. But look at those eyes. That's a lot of love right there. 5 generations of love for this city in Jacksonville. And I cannot tell you how excited I am to bring this city together and move us forward. Can I show you something? My daughter gave this to me last Mother's Day, and I almost wore it tonight, but I thought it might be good just to show it to you. Keep calm. I want my kids and my husband to come up here. Could you come up here? Where are my kids? Where are my kids? This is my wonderful husband. This is my wonderful husband who, right on brand, could not promise me we would not have showers tonight. But that's okay. A little rain, a little baptism never hurt anybody, right? Folks, I can't even begin to thank enough people for this. All of you, obviously, who worked on the ground for a year and a half, knocking on doors, having town hall meetings, having conversations, listening to the community. Everybody said it could not be done in Jacksonville, Florida. And we did it because we brought the people inside. That's why we did it. These are my kids, Danielle and Drew. I got to tell you, I lost Danielle to Tampa a few years ago, and I'm going to bring her back. I had a bet with Bob Buckhorn. I was going to bring her back once I was elected. But listen, I am so excited about creating a city that sees everybody, that brings everybody in, that gives everybody a voice. A city that truly does finally reach its absolutely amazing potential. And the only way we were ever going to do that was by bringing everybody in. That's the only way. The only way. We have the most beautiful mosaic of a city that you've ever seen in your entire life, and everybody's going to have a voice in a Donna Deegan administration. So I don't even know what else to say. I'm overwhelmed. This is about my kids. This is about your kids. This is about creating a city where our kids will want to stay and raise theirs. So let's soak this in and enjoy the history that we are making tonight, and then get very intentional about the hard work ahead. I got to tell you, I just received a very nice phone call from Daniel Davis, who said to me that he is rooting for me and he will work for me to create a city that works. He is ready to work together, and I am ready to work with him and everybody else who loves this city to make this city everything that it can be. Thank you all so much.
Mayor-elect Donna Deegan addressing her supporters tonight. Overwhelmed, she said.
Speaking outside from Estrella Cocina on Bay Street, I owe you a correction. Her margin of victory is more than 10,000 votes.
I'm glad
out
to
of
take any questions you have.
214,000 cast.
But I want to thank all the people of Jacksonville. This entire race, I've been talking to every single person in Jacksonville. I said it's not just about Democrats, it's not about Republicans, it's not about independents, it's about all of us together. And I got to tell you, we would not have won this race tonight if it hadn't been for everybody coming together in this community. I'm so grateful. And it's the only way to lead, y'all. It's the only way to lead. We got to bring everybody in. We got to bring everybody in. What Jacksonville needs now is love. That is right. So, does anybody have questions, or you want me to? Can I just go and have fun? Whatever you want to do.
Go ahead and drink some champagne.
Thank you, everybody. I love you.
Let's go and have fun, is what she said.
Mayor-elect Donna Deegan.
Setting the course for Jacksonville's next 4 years. A new mayor will step into City Hall this summer to lead the city. And newly drawn districts will mean a new look to the city council. The voters have spoken. Now we break down how the choices could shape our community. Live from Channel 4, the local station, this is Vote 2023, Jacksonville's election night.
You're looking live at the election celebration for Donna Deegan, who will be Jacksonville's next mayor. Hello again, everyone. It was a stunning turn of events. Donna Deegan herself said it is an historic city election. The pollsters and the pros predicted it would be close, but it wasn't. Her margin of victory was 10,000 votes. And she is celebrating. She said to her supporters, let's go have fun, as she defeated Daniel Davis.
Right. We want to take another look at the returns this hour. 98% of the precincts reporting And there it is, Donna Deegan with 52% over Daniel Davis, 48%. Now, our anchors and reporters are with the two candidates tonight. Of course, we just checked in with Donna Deegan, that is, excuse me, Mayor-elect, and we're going to check in with all of them in just a few moments. First,
Kent Justice is here with our roundtable of local political experts. Our News4JAX political analyst Rick Mullaney is here from the Public Policy Institute at Jacksonville University. Government law attorney Chris Hand is joining us, as he always does, and our political contributor John Newman.
Yeah, so if I were to say who wanted to go first and give a first blush reaction to what happened, all of us would raise our hands, maybe both hands. Rick, I'm going to start with you. Your reaction to some stunning results tonight.
It is stunning, and it is historic. And we've had several stunning victories here in Jacksonville, surprises, but this is one of the great upsets in Jacksonville history. A little bit of history. In 1995, when John Delaney won, he won by 1% and became the first Republican mayor since Reconstruction. And he issued in a new era, really, in politics. In 2011, when Alvin Brown won, he won by 1%, the first black mayor of Jacksonville. He also won by 1%. Tonight, Donna Deegan, the first woman to become mayor of Jacksonville, and she overcame a money disadvantage. You look at Daniel Davis had raised between $8 and $9 million. She was at $2 million. Really, there was a red wave in the state of Florida in November and in March, very red, and she overcame the negative campaigning of Daniel Davis. A historic win for Donna Deegan, no doubt about it, in part because of her positive messaging campaigning, and in part a rejection of the politics of the Davis campaign.
Yeah, Chris, you were there in 2011, the last time a Democrat won for mayor in Jacksonville. What's your reaction tonight?
Well, Kent, every time you think that there are political patterns that are set, democracy has a way of surprising you and confounding those expectations. You know, we think about, how much people talk about how much our politics are polarized, how partisan it's become, how the candidate that always raises the most money is going to win. Donna Deegan's confounded a lot of those expectations tonight. Republicans ended the day today with about a 7,000 voter lead. She obviously won support from Republicans.
Chris, I think Daniel Davis is speaking right now. We're going to pause and listen to him.
So much. I called Donna Deegan earlier and congratulated her on being mayor-elect of Jacksonville. I have said many times in public occasions that Donna loves Jacksonville. There's no doubt in my mind that she does. And I just want to let you know I'm going to do everything I can to make sure Mayor-elect Deegan is successful in making Jacksonville the best Jacksonville it can be.
We're having some difficulty with Daniel Davis's microphone. We'll try to get those fixed. Let's listen closely to him.
I will never stop loving my city. I'm going to serve my city till the day I die. Thank you. It's just not going to be in the form that I thought it might be 24 hours ago, and that's okay. I talked to Rebecca and the kids earlier, and obviously we're still kind of in shock of the results and want to make sure that we understand that this doesn't define us as a family. I did exactly what I know I was supposed to do. I was living life with purpose, caring about the citizens of Jacksonville, and what we're going to do next is make sure that Mayor-elect Donna Deegan is successful doing the exact same thing. I want to thank TK and Robin Waters for their friendship. I think what he means to the city of Jacksonville moving forward is going to be something that we'll look back on as one of the most important impacts our city has ever seen. And I'm going to do everything, yes. I know he and the mayor will work together to make our streets safer and more affordable. We knocked on more than 120,000 doors in this campaign. And maybe that was the purpose of this endeavor and this journey, to be able to talk to voters on their doorsteps and just to understand the struggle in many ways that they're facing. And I'm going to do everything I can in Jacksonville to make sure that their struggle is easier and make sure that they're safer. 9 months ago, we began this campaign in the workshop of a trucking company on the west side of Jacksonville. And I'm very, very proud of that. I appreciate all of their support and the hardworking taxpayers of this city and what they mean to Jacksonville. I'm never going to stop fighting for those folks in our community, and I cannot wait to see how we can make their lives better and they can make their families better with the future of our economy. This is not the outcome we hoped for, but my commitment to providing this great city, the great city that we have, has many doubters, and I'm tired of the doubters. I know the direction of this city and what we can accomplish, and I cannot wait to make the pinnacle of Jacksonville what we know it can be. Because I believe in the hardworking men and women who will pour their souls into their families, into improving our city each and every day. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, I know you're disappointed. You've invested thousands of dollars in this campaign, in tireless hours, in sweat, in tears. But I would tell you, Jacksonville's best days are ahead. They are. Whatever our mayor wants, I'm going to pledge to help and do whatever she asks. I'm asking you in this room and everybody out in the community to do that as well. We have to support our new mayor to make sure Jacksonville can be what it can be. Thank you for everything you have done for my family in this long journey. I will always treasure the conversations on your front porches, the love we have for Jacksonville, and the bonds we forged together. From the bottom of my heart, I love each of you in this city. I love each of you in this room. Rebecca Davis, I love you, and I cannot thank you enough for what you did for me during this campaign. Don't be discouraged. Don't be disappointed. We have to all come together now and move our city forward. Thank you so much for what you did for me. I'll never forget it. God bless you.
A conciliatory and hopeful concession speech from a very obviously disappointed Daniel Davis, who at one point, according to the conventional wisdom, was seen as the heir apparent to Mayor Lenny Curry.
And now Donna Deegan is celebrating the results with her supporters downtown. Janice Harris is joining us live from Estrella Cocina on Bay Street. Janice, the party goes on.
You know, Mary, ironically, this is the same place where she learned there would be a runoff due to the primary. And now they're right back here in the same place with a celebration for her being mayor-elect. I'm going to step out of the shot so you can see, as there are so many of her supporters are here. One of the things that Donna Deegan said was really important for people to understand is that she was not going to be able to win this race without the entire community participating. She would not be able to do it without the diversity and support by race, age, every single person that she said she could think of. But she also talked about how a lot of people said that she was not going to be able to do this. She said there were many people that doubted her, but now the doubt has been proven wrong, and she will be this city's next mayor. Take a listen.
Listen, I am so excited about creating a city that sees everybody, that brings everybody in, that gives everybody a voice. A city that truly does finally reach its absolutely amazing potential. And the only way we were ever going to do that was by bringing everybody in. That's the only way. The only way. We have the most beautiful mosaic of a city that you've ever seen in your entire life, and everybody's going to have a voice in a Donna Deegan administration. So I don't even know what else to say. I am overwhelmed. This is about my kids. This is about your kids. This is about creating a city where our kids will want to stay and raise theirs.
And this rooftop is packed with supporters, but this rooftop is also packed with celebration of many people very excited about the fact that Donna Deegan has won her campaign, and again promising that everyone that is a part of Duval County will be involved in the input of what this community needs. Also talking about making this something that lasts on a generational level, something that she wants to do well with the city, not just for her, not just for her children, but also for her grandchildren. And now we get to watch and see what she will do as this city's mayor. Reporting live in downtown Jacksonville, Janice Harris, Channel 4, the local station.
Janice, thanks.
We just heard a few moments ago a concession speech from Daniel Davis as he was surrounded by family, friends, and supporters at the glass factory in Mixontown.
And Scott Johnson is there, too, with the sheriff. Scott?
Yeah, we just heard from Daniel Davis, a conciliatory tone. And I wanted to talk to one of Mr. Davis's highest profile supporters, Sheriff T.K. Waters. Sheriff, your response to the new mayor, Donna Deegan, has come out. You, of course, endorsed Daniel Davis. Your thoughts right now?
Congratulations to Mayor-elect Deegan. Now it's on to the business of taking care of the citizens of this community. I was elected by them to do something, and I'm going to do that. And now we got to sit down with Mayor-elect Deegan and get on the road to taking care of business, taking care of the people of this city.
You endorsed her competitor, opposing parties.
Yep.
Talk to me about bridging that gap and how you work with her at City Hall.
Well, it's to me, it's pretty easy. I mean, politics is politics. It is what it is. Now that that's over, that part's over, it's been settled. The people of Jacksonville decided what they want to do. Now it's my job to move forward, sit down with Mayor Deegan, and move forward and make sure that we take care of the people in this city the way that they should be taken care of, politics aside.
One of the big issues in this campaign, and you were in a lot of commercials that were on Jacksonville Residents TV saying Donna Deegan may not take care of my officers.
Right.
How do you reconcile that now?
I hope she does. I mean, the plan is to ask her to make sure we take care of the police in this city. So for far too long, we hear stories about how the police are the problem in communities. That can't be the case moving forward. So hopefully we can sit down and we can talk about things and make sure that we can get our officers taken care of. Make sure they're taken care of as they take care of the people of this city.
Sheriff T.K. Waters, thank you for your time, sir. Good luck.
Scott, thank you, buddy.
And so we will continue to follow this. We'll be back later on with more of what Daniel Davis had to say, and the sheriff saying that he wants to work with her despite a lot of those campaigns ads that you've been watching for the last month or so. That's what Sheriff T.K. Waters has to say here at the Daniel Davis event in Mixontown, where I am live. Scott Johnson, Channel 4, the local station.
Scott, thanks.
Besides the race for mayor, every Duval County voter had at least 2 other races to decide during this election.
For property appraiser, Democrat Joyce Morgan, who's wrapping up 8 years on city council, holds a narrow lead right now over Republican Jason Fisher, a former state legislator and school board member. And you can see she's got 51% over his 49%.
And of the 5 citywide at-large council seats, 1 was on the ballot, Group 5. Republican Chris Miller, the former district director for Congressman John Rutherford, running for office for the first time, defeated the Democrat Charles Garrison 52% to 48%. Garrison was also a first-time office seeker.
Now, Jacksonville Beach voters had a question on their ballot about a charter amendment for a specific purpose.
The city of Jacksonville Beach has a building height limit of 35 feet. The proposed amendment would have allowed for an exception to that restriction for a development project in the Latham Plaza parking lot. The amendment would add 20 feet to the height limit for a total of 55 feet. Voters at the beach overwhelmingly, as you can see, said no thank you.
Well, this election brought more voters to the polls compared to low turnout that we saw in March.
Joy will break down how different parts of town voted. Our Vote 2023 election coverage special will return in 2 minutes. As the final few votes are being counted tonight, we're getting a real-time look at which candidate for mayor performed better in different parts of town.
And Joy is here to break down the map of results to see what we can learn about strengths and weaknesses. Joy?
Yes, Mary, Tom, take a look. You're looking at a map of the precincts of Jacksonville. The orange represents Daniel Davis's win. The teal color, Donna Deegan's win. So let's take a look at some of these areas. Let's start with the north side. Right through this area, you can see some of the left of the north side went to Donna Deegan, but this right side went to Davis. This area back in March was won by Al Ferraro, but he didn't endorse either candidate. So his Republican votes, as you can see, and even ate a little bit into the side that Deegan won back in March. This side went to Davis. Taking a look at Northwest Jacksonville, solid Deegan here. Moving down to the west side, Donna Deegan took quite a bit of the west side, as you can see. Right here, this large precinct here is the Ortega area. That's where Davis is from. But all of the areas surrounding it, Riverside, Avondale, Murray Hill, all of these neighborhoods, populated areas, went to Donna Deegan. All right, we are moving on to the Arlington area. That's here. You can see that the Arlington area was split. You might be able to tell this is a little off color here, this one precinct right in the middle of Arlington. It was a tie, 1,161 votes apiece. So in the Arlington area, split right in half there. We are now taking a look at the south side. The south side was basically split. Here you see the Mandarin area along the St. Johns River, Julington Creek. That was expected to go to Daniel Davis. And take a look at the beaches. This is Donna Deegan's stomping grounds. The beaches went to Davis, but she did win 2 precincts here in Atlantic Beach, though one of them, this largest one, was really, really close. Donna Deegan 844 to Daniel Davis's 831. So very interesting there that he took this area, but overall you can see all of those heavily populated areas won by Donna Deegan tonight. Tom, Mary?
Joy, thanks. After a remarkably low voter turnout in the March city election, significantly more voters showed up for this general election.
That follows a trend we have seen when there has been a competitive mayor's race that went to a May runoff. The overall turnout today wound up at just over 33%. Compared to the first election on March 21st, it was just under 26%. News4JAX reporter Jim Pickett is at the election center on the north side, where Supervisor Mike Hogan is overseeing his final election before he leaves office. Jim?
You know, that's right. And he was hoping for that 37% turnout. We didn't get that, but he said things went quite well today. I kind of show you what's going on here right now. Those votes, one precinct was left. They had to bring that in manually. So that's being counted right now. But what's happening here when their equipment, the ballots, everything's come back in, they are put away. And that's what these people will do here. I'll tell you, this is one of the earliest that they really finished up that I have seen for some time. And as you mentioned, I just spoke with Supervisor of Elections Mike Hogan just as these counts were wrapping up and talking to him about his final election, but talking to him about how the day went. Here's what he told me. Does this, however close it gets, does it make a difference because we're in our second election?
No, it only recount is, down to 0.5% or 0.25%. So I'm not sure that we're going to get to a recount.
So how do you feel about today? I mean, I think this is going to surprise a lot of people, but how did you think the day went?
Well, looking at it from my viewpoint, we did everything right. I didn't have any problems with poll workers. I didn't have any problems with the public. All the equipment was running fine. We opened up right on time. As you know, we're closing I think there's 1 or 2 out as far as precincts. This has been a great day.
It's a great day for Mike Hogan. It's his last day, as he had said. I mentioned it's 8:21 right now, and they are wrapping up. That's quite a surprise. And I was asking Hogan, too, if he sees this as a change for Jacksonville. He's a veteran politician here, and he says Jacksonville is ready to move on, move ahead. We're going to be hearing more from Mike Hogan a little bit later tonight about his final days here and what this all means. But for now, they are wrapping up this election for the city election, and they're just happy with the way things came out. Reporting live from the election center on the north side, Jim Pickett, Channel 4, the local station.
Jim, has Hogan said what he's going to do next in his life? Is he going to retire from public life?
He really wouldn't say at this point. I think that is what's going to happen. You know, his son ran for city council, didn't win in this case, and he didn't really want to talk about that at this point. And I understand, but, you know, he served the community well, and he's ready to keep cheering for Jacksonville. That's what he told me. And as you can see, what they're cheering about back behind me here is another truck is coming back in with all of the equipment. They're just glad that tonight went well, and it's going to end soon.
Very dedicated people there, Jim. Thank you very much, Jim Piggott, reporting to us live.
And now we want to dig a little deeper into tonight's voter turnout numbers. As we said, overall turnout was at 33%.
Nearly 44,000 people voted by mail. Nearly 84,000 voted during the 2 weeks of early in-person voting. A little more than 90,000 people voted today.
And now breaking the overall turnout down by party, a little more than 91,000 Democrats voted, more than 98,000 Republicans voted, and they pulled ahead of the Democrats with today's Election Day voting. And about 25,000 no party affiliation voters cast a ballot in this election.
Well, next, I think we want to hear more from our panelists, don't we, Ken?
Yeah, so right at the beginning of our coverage, we were in the middle of some analysis by Chris Hand. So, Chris, let's go back here, talk about the mayor's race. This was a stunning outcome tonight for Donna Deegan.
Well, it really was. I mean, we were saying that, you know, just when you think you have Jacksonville politics figured out, the voters go and really confound expectations. I think Donna Deegan's win is very historic for a number of reasons, not just because of who she is, but also because of how she won. We live in an era of polarization where people talk about partisanship. Can anyone ever build a coalition across party lines? That seems to be exactly what Donna Deegan did tonight in order to be elected Jacksonville's 9th mayor since consolidation. She had Democrats supporting her, obviously won among no party affiliation or NPA voters, even attracted some Republicans. Again, a bipartisan coalition, something that many people weren't sure was possible anymore kind of in our elections. She demonstrated tonight that it was.
John Newman, I know you're like, okay, it's been like 20 minutes. I want to tell you what I think now.
I'm good.
And I know that as we've talked, you've worked with Republicans and Democrats. In this case, I know you're pleased to see that Donna Deegan comes out on top tonight.
Absolutely. I think it says a lot about Jacksonville because tonight what won really was decency won. The campaign, Daniel said that the election does not define him, but how he campaigned did define him. And what the citizenry said is we reject the campaign you ran and we reject you. He has to own that. It was his campaign. So I think what Jacksonville said tonight across the city, we looked at the map, all over the city she won. And that says that Jacksonville decided summarily tonight, we're rejecting the politics of division. We are tired of the toxicity. And we are not going to be a city that moves forward until we all move forward together. Yeah. And Donna Deegan proved that tonight.
And Rick, you were just telling me that's going to be the story of what happened is that rejection, right?
There are a lot of storylines here, but clearly one of the storylines is the Davis campaign. The most money raised in the history of our city for a mayor's race by far. It was the most negative campaign in the history. It was a divisive campaign. It was a campaign in which they didn't show up for interviews for the Times Union, the Business Journal debates, in which the people of Jacksonville saw this campaign for what it was. And I agree with John. Much of the storyline of tonight is a rejection of the divisiveness, of the negative campaigning. In fact, some of the campaigning, look at Al Ferraro. For example, the misleading ads when it came to Al Ferraro. What Daniel Davis should have done was reached out to Al Ferraro, reached out to those people he opposed. It was a very different kind of campaign. And one of the storylines, I believe, is the rejection. And Donna Deegan has an opportunity to turn the page on the kind of politics that this result rejects. The people of Jacksonville, and I agree with John, have rejected this kind of politics.
All that money that was donated to Davis, why was it so important to those people to plunk down that kind of money to have Daniel Davis elected mayor of Jacksonville? Why do they want him to win so much?
Well, let me just say this on Daniel Davis. I think he has an admirable 20-year career. If you look back at the history of Daniel Davis, I think it's honorable service. And I don't think this campaign really reflected who he is. His service on the city council, the youngest city council president, his service on the Florida legislature, his CEO is the Chamber of Commerce. He is a much better speaker than he portrayed in this campaign. It would be nice if he spoke more in the campaign, but he is a much better speaker.
Yeah, like the News4JAX forum, just going to
Well, I do think a lot of people believe in him, and he has a 20-year career that he can be proud of. when it comes to his campaign, I don't agree with his comment that he did what he was supposed to do. His campaign and the voters today rejected the Davis campaign, and also, by the way, the Lenny Curry administration as part of that campaign.
So one of the comments that we heard from Republicans who said, I'm going to support Donna Deegan in this, was about that campaign. And Chris, one of the comments that we heard from those folks who are crossing over party lines were, hey, and I think this is what John Newman just mentioned, they were saying, if you're going to campaign this style, how can I trust that you're going to lead or govern in a different style?
Well, we all know the old adage that the best predictor of future performance is past performance. And, you know, how one campaigns very much sets the tone for how they might govern. But it was an unusual strategic decision in this race. Rick just outlined all of the things that Daniel Davis has done in his career, was a leader in the business community, had an opportunity to sort of occupy the centrist lane in the race, much like John Delaney had done when he ran for mayor, much like John Payton had done when he ran for mayor. And with all that room to run in the middle of the field, made the questionable and now appears decisive decision to kind of run along the right sideline. That's not typically how we've elected mayors. The mayors we've elected in this town, whether it is Delaney or Payton or Alvin Brown or Lenny Curry, and now Donna Deegan, have really found a way to occupy that centrist lane. So in moving in that direction, Daniel Davis kind of moved away from that history, that pattern, and as a result is not going to be Jacksonville's next mayor.
And what about the negative ads that he ran, not just against Donna Deegan, but during the primary?
Well, it certainly created, as you noticed, Tom, the two main first election opponents he had on the Republican side, Al Ferraro and Leanna Cumber, neither of them endorsed him. And if you watch their comments closely during the second election, it was very clear who they were going to vote for, and that was not Daniel Davis. So again, Rick alluded to this earlier, trying to bring a party together, bind up those wounds. For whatever reason, that didn't happen. And as a result, he was not able to assemble the coalition he needed to win, and Donna Deegan was.
And I think it also talks about or speaks to how you can have a Faustian deal, where you, getting to your point earlier, your question earlier, why were those persons spending that kind of money? Because it was in their vested interest to spend that money in that campaign, because they wanted to keep things as they were. And so now what the city of Jacksonville has said loudly and clearly is that money doesn't vote, people vote.
A lot of people don't want things to continue as they are. They voted for Donna Deegan,
exactly
correct?
Right. That's exactly what happened. And that is proven empirically and emphatically tonight. The people spoke loudly and clearly that we want change.
And
exactly
history,
right.
history making.
Yes, well, you know, we have a woman to lead us.
Exactly.
That's a great thing.
First time.
Yes.
Jacksonville history.
We were here in 2016 when Donald Trump pulled off the biggest upset in national politics, and here we are now, and Donna Deegan has pulled off the biggest upsets, and I've been covering elections in Jacksonville.
Another fascinating night. Okay, well, along with mayor, voters also decided some city council seats in today's election.
A look at the balance of power and what this means moving forward next.
And now, Vote 2023. We're continuing our coverage tonight of Jacksonville's general election. Donna Deegan will be Jacksonville's next mayor, the first woman to hold the office.
Taking a look at how close the race was against Daniel Davis. Not that close, folks. 10,000 votes separated these two. Donna Deegan got 52%. Daniel Davis got 48%. Speaking within the last 30 minutes, Davis said he will continue to serve the citizens of Jacksonville. Deegan thanked her supporters and expressed excitement for the future of the city.
I made a decision when I got into this race that no matter what happened, no matter what the landscape looked like, we were going to lead with love over fear.
Yes.
We would not go with division. We would go with unity. Folks, I can't even begin to thank enough people for this. All of you, obviously, who worked on the ground for a year and a half, knocking on doors, having town hall meetings, having conversations, listening to the community. Everybody said it could not be done in Jacksonville, Florida.
City, I will never stop loving my city. I'm going to serve my city till the day I die. Thank you. It's just not going to be in the form that I thought it might be 24 hours ago, and that's okay. I talked to Rebecca and the kids earlier, and obviously we're still kind of in shock of the results and want to make sure that we understand that this doesn't define us as a family.
I keep checking our math. Donna Deegan's margin of victory, 8,325. Okay, now recapping the other two races on the ballot for every Duval County voter, property appraiser and an at-large seat on the city council.
In the race for property appraiser, Democrat Joyce Morgan, who is wrapping up 8 years on city council, holds a narrow lead right now over Republican Jason Fisher, who's a former state legislator and school board member, 51% to his 49%.
And in City Council at Large Group 5, Republican Chris Miller, the former district director for Congressman John Rutherford, running for office for the first time, defeated the Democrat Charles Garrison, 52% to 48%. Garrison also was a first-time office seeker. In the first election in March, most Duval County voters had a race on their ballot for their individual city council district.
And half of those races were settled that night, but in 6 of the races, nobody got more than 50% of the vote. So those races went to runoffs in today's general election. Let's take a look. City Council District 2, which includes parts of Arlington and Ocean Way. Both candidates, Republicans, Mike Gay, an electrical contractor. He beat Lindsey Brock, an attorney, 52% to 48%. And he'll fill the seat held by Al Ferraro.
District 7 is one of the districts that was dramatically redrawn in the redistricting process. It now stretches from the east side through downtown and Riverside down to Ortega. Democrat Jimmy Peluso, a government affairs professional, defeated Republican Joseph Hogan, a home builder, and as you heard Jim mention, the son of outgoing supervisor of elections Mike Hogan. It was a wide margin, 65% to 35%. District 8 now covers parts of northwest Jacksonville and the north side. The race featured 2 Democrats, Reggie Gaffney Jr., who had been representing District 7 on the council prior to redistricting, and Tamika Gaines Holly. Gaffney is the winner. He worked for a nonprofit in management for more than 20 years. The margin of victory, 52% to 48%.
District 9 now includes parts of northwest Jacksonville and the west side, and Democrat Tyrona Clark Murray is the incumbent. She survived a challenge by Republican Mike Muldoon, a retired accountant, 55% to 45%. District 11 covers a wide portion of the south side. Republican Raul Arias, a restaurant owner, beat Democrat Raymond Day, who works in real estate investment, 53% to 47%. Arias replaces Councilman Danny Becton.
And District 14, redrawn as well, covers a portion of the west side stretching from the river through the Argyle neighborhood. Democrat Raymond Johnson, a college professor, defeated Republican John Draper, working to make a comeback. He had served on the council back in the 1990s. The final vote, there it is, 53% for Johnson, 47% for Draper.
All right, we're back with our roundtable.
Yeah, so let's talk about the composition of City Council. Chris, take us through some of your observations on these races and how they turn out here. We're electing 7 of the 19 council members in this runoff election tonight.
Well, Kent, the first thing that comes to mind is a great quote from the late Jake Godbold, who was a friend of everybody at this table tonight, which is, you can't do anything without 10 votes. And I think one of the first challenges that Donna Deegan will face as mayor is, how do you assemble that kind of coalition on the city council? So who has won is going to be important in that. There were a couple of incumbents who were reelected, Tyrona Clark Murray, Reggie Gaffney Jr., a couple of new faces on the council, Jimmy Peluso representing District 7 and Rockman Johnson representing District 14. What's particularly interesting about District 7 and 14 is those are brand new districts. They did not exist before January of this year when the federal court implemented a new council map because of a redistricting lawsuit. So that was settled just a few days before qualifying. 2 newly drawn seats, several newly drawn seats, and kind of a new look council in 2023.
A lot of people, when you talk to them, Rick, in the community about what's happening at election time, they're like, hey, talk to me about city council, because city council members, sometimes they feel like they make more of a difference to what's going to happen and representing where I live.
They make an enormous difference. And by the way, if you break down after the redistricting, take a look at the map in 3 areas: party affiliation, race, and gender. On party affiliation, there were 14 Republicans out of 19 coming into this spring. There are 14 Republicans coming out. And that's what Chris is referring to, that there will be 14 Republicans of the 19-member city council. When it comes to women, a pretty significant drop. There used to be 6. Now, after this election, there will be 2. In terms of black representation, there were 7, and now there's 5. So there'll be a lot of discussion on the redistricting, the effect it has in terms of party affiliation, women, and race. But the city council, I believe, is going to work well with Donna Deegan. In local races, you know, Mayor LaGuardia once said there's no Republican way to pick up the garbage, or Republican or Democratic way to pick up the garbage. And I hope that party affiliation will play less of a role, as you heard from T.K. Waters earlier and from Donna Deegan, in bringing this community together to do the city's business. But an interesting race this spring, really kind of a red wave. Of the 19 city council members, 14 are Republican. Of the constitutional officers, 4 of the 5 are Republican, which gives you another insight into how significant this Donna Deegan win was. In a local community that typically goes Republican, it went Democratic for mayor. She overcame the money. She overcame the negative campaigning. She overcame a red wave. Really significant for Donna Deegan.
John, I want to hear your view on what's happened with City Council and the voting tonight, the results tonight.
Well, I want to be optimistic, hearing what Rick said, but I do have some concerns in that some of the moneyed interests, going to Tom's point, supported some of the city council persons who got elected, ran their campaigns. And so I'm wondering if maybe the message to them will be to be obstructionists. And so I'm hoping that what Rick said is right, that we put party aside and do what is best for the city. And going back to our previous conversation, it's really a seminal moment in this community, in the decision that was made tonight in the mayor's race. And it should trickle down, I would hope, to the city council that for us to go forward, we've got to go forward together. When you have honest brokers on either party side, you can get things done. But if it becomes politicized, or here it is, obstructionist 2.0, let's not let anything she does get passed. And if there is that kind of impasse, the city, I believe, will reject in another election those who did that. They want to move forward, and there's a great opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I think we need to talk about that here in just a few moments, as a matter of fact. Thank you for our roundtable.
Thank you.
Well, now that we know who is going to be Jacksonville's next mayor, what does all that mean moving forward?
Exactly. Our analysts are going to weigh in on that next. We'll also break down the key transition dates for the new mayor. Donna Deegan will serve as Jacksonville's new mayor and will officially take office July 1st.
Let's take another look at the results. There it is, 52% to 48%. So much for the prognosticators who said it was going to be close. 2011, Alvin Brown won by what? 1,800 votes, I think?
1,662 votes.
Somebody remembers that for some particular reason, Chris.
Impressive.
That was close.
It was.
What happens next?
Yeah, so let's talk about this. I know that we even alluded to, Chris, you can start off here, but there are some things that happen really quickly for someone who's going to take over this executive office here in the city of Jacksonville.
Well, there's not much time between today, May the 16th, and July 1, which is the day that Donna Deegan will be inaugurated as Jacksonville's next mayor. There'll be a lot to do over that time period. And once she becomes mayor on July 1, remember that our city has a $1.5 billion budget. Well, the way our system works is the new mayor takes office on July 1st, has to present that budget to the city council on July the 15th. So has 2 weeks to effectively put into position that $1.5 billion budget. Also engage key staff, fill departments. So there's a lot that has to happen in the next 6 weeks, but I think it'll be very sort of centered on getting into City Hall, figuring out what's happening there, getting an update from all the different departments to understand what some of the different city agencies are doing, putting a budget together and putting a staff together.
And wouldn't she have her staff lined up already? Isn't that how it kind of works? I mean, you get your feelers out even though before it's actually happened?
Not necessarily. I mean, I'm sure there have been conversations about people who could serve in the administration, but really until, often, Mary, as you know, candidates are pretty focused on one thing until the very end of the election, winning it. And then at that point, you kind of move forward and think about, even the similarly challenging task ahead, the task of governing. But a lot of those staffing conversations will happen now. figuring out how to put together that $1.5 billion proposed budget so that her priorities are in that budget, and doing all the work to get in there and, again, really understand what's happening at the city of Jacksonville right now, so, again, she can move her administration forward.
One of the things
Rick,
that we
you know
were
about
talking
working
about
for mayors. It's on-the-job training for every new mayor, right?
It's going to be really, really difficult. It'll be a daunting task. But I do want to step back for a second and talk a little bit about a governing model and how we move forward. I had the great privilege in 1995 when John Delaney became mayor, the first Republican mayor since Reconstruction, winning by 1%. But he really had what I call the Delaney sort of consensus model. And what John did, and he won by less than 1%, instinctually, politically, he reached out to everyone who opposed him. He was white, prosecutor, Republican, who got maybe 2% of the black vote, rounding up. And on election day, the day after, he was in black churches, he was in the black community, he reached out to Jake Godbold, and there was a $2 billion dividend 5 years later when the Better Jacksonville plan passed, because the Delaney consensus model used the Lincoln model, which was you destroy your enemy by making them your friend. But there's a modern model that plays to its base, that wins at all costs. And instead of reaching out to those who opposed you, like Delaney did, they make a list of who opposed you. And it's vindictive, and it's base-oriented, and it's about power politics, and it's about threats and intimidation. It's happening nationally. It's been happening locally. This election is an opportunity to turn the page on how we govern. And I believe Donna Deegan's acceptance speech tonight suggests that she's more akin to the Delaney model. She should reach out to Daniel Davis. She should reach out to Leanna Cumber. She should reach out to everybody, quite frankly, because we're all in this together. I got to witness that happen, and I believe in terms of politics and governance, it's the model that I think works best. It's not what we're seeing nationally. It's not what we're seeing statewide. But I think locally tonight can be an opportunity to go to a governance model in which we reach out to those who opposed us. We build consensus for a better future. And by the way, we've got to deal with the Jaguars looming, investments in infrastructure, downtown, public safety, you name it. Bunch of big opportunities, bunch of big issues, but it starts with that notion of how are we going to govern. I think from what she said, she wants to follow that kind of model.
And John Newman, I definitely want to hear from you on this. And we talked earlier about some of the areas where Daniel Davis, the campaign Daniel Davis anyway, struggled. He did say tonight in his speech, now's the time, I'm going to do everything I can to help our mayor-elect to try and be part of a greater, a better city that we live in.
Well, he did say that, and I'll take him at his word. What Rick talked about with John Delaney, I happened to be one of 2 African-American pastors who supported him when he ran for mayor. And what he did was he brought some of us into what he called his kitchen cabinet. All through those years he was mayor and consulted us on things. He kept the door open, and that helped him increase. And Ricky, I think you probably know the data better than me. When John ran his last election, I think he got 70, 80% of the black vote. That was because he had an inclusive kind of approach. Donna has said, I want Democrats, Republicans, and independents in my administration. And I believe that she's going to do that and set that new model that Rick talked about, because it's been too much division, and we're tired of folks who oppose a particular candidate and then they're run out of town, or their businesses are shut down because it's all about vindictiveness and power. And so I think that it's important that a new model is created. And this is something that we can do in this city with this kind of election that galvanizes people, pulls us together, and sends a powerful signal that we're turning the table and we're turning the page on that kind of politics.
The campaign motto, change for good, right?
Yeah.
For Donna Deegan. So how does that change happen? And is it really possible, what you're discussing, Chris, if some of the old guard say, no, I'm not going to let go of, I want the old way, the old Jacksonville, the good old boy network, or what have you?
Well, I think Rick is right. There's a different model, and we have lots of examples. In addition to John Delaney, another great example is the mayor I referred to earlier, Jake Godbold. When Jake Godbold was elected in 1979, he was elected largely over the opposition of the business community, and immediately after his election, he pivoted to build relationships with the business community here in Jacksonville. That's going to be very important for Donna Deegan to do. It's crucial to have, I think, a good working relationship with the business community and a broad coalition of the community to be successful as mayor. She can be proactive about that in building some of these relationships, setting the right tone from day one, making appointments to various positions, laying out that first budget, which is so crucial in showing what her priorities are going to be. The more she can not only reach out, but demonstrate early what kind of mayor she's going to be, which she certainly talked about during the campaign. I think that helps her to build the same kind of winning coalition that helped her become elected mayor will help her succeed as mayor as well.
You guys want to name some names? Who's on her call list? Shad Khan? Paul Hardin? Who do you want her to call tomorrow morning?
Well, you know, you
She's
can imagine.
going to be up early. We know that.
You can imagine a lot of people, but I mean, I think one list that she ought to be thinking about is who supported Daniel Davis, and how do we make sure that we're all part of one team going forward? Because again, there are separate teams in an election, but now we're all on Team Jacksonville. Everybody's in the same place. So I think starting with that, who are some of the people who didn't support me in this election, and how can I reach out to them and say, I want to make sure we have a good working relationship going forward, and even if we don't agree, we're going to have open lines of communication and be able to talk to each other. I think that's a good place to start. Someone I know in politics has a great expression: the team you need is the one that helps you win now. And I think that's a good adage for a new mayor as well. Making sure you're not, as Rick said, you're not too worried about who was with you or who was against you in the election. The goal now is to make sure that everybody is for Jacksonville and helping the community move forward.
But there need to be some honest brokers who are going to represent her to the business community. Because of the kind of campaign that was run and the lies that were actually spread, many people believe the stuff that they saw on television. And there will need to be people who are business persons who said, that's not who she is, and enable people to be open that she can actually lead, bring us together, and do a great thing for the city. So I think she'll definitely need some trusted messengers in the business community who will reach to others in the business community and say, she's safe, she's a good person, don't believe everything you heard, and we can make this thing work together.
Final thought there?
I want to just really go back to what Chris said. It's May 16th, July 1st, she takes office. I had the great privilege of serving for 20 years for 3 mayors. And let me just say this, it's a daunting job. It's a difficult task. She's got to do everything we just talked about in terms of the model of reaching out, as Chris just mentioned, to those who supported Daniel Davis. But she's got the hard work of developing the municipal expertise, the subject matter experts, the kinds of people with institutional knowledge that can really run the government. For Ed Austin and for John Delaney, that was Lex Hester. In recent years, you turn to Sam Musa. He came up through public works for 16 years. He had a great work ethic. He knew the government. She's going to have to identify those people, regardless of party label, regardless of affiliation, that have the subject matter expertise, the background to really run this $1.6 billion a year municipal government. Big task. 3 big appointments coming up. One is for CAO. That's going to be really important. Finance and general counsel. But she's also going to be appointing directors of departments and deputy directors. Putting that team together is really important. We've seen she can communicate well, she can paint a vision, but she's got to get the running of the government right, and that starts with identifying the talent, the experts, and the municipal expertise to get that done.
And keep this in mind, too. The mayor of 2023 is the mayor who's got to figure out the Jaguars and the stadium, which will be the largest public works project in the city history, and there's going to be a lot of opposition to fixing up that stadium. We're already seeing it, and they haven't even announced what they want to do yet. I mean, how'd you like, Rick, you worked for 3 mayors, how'd you like that doozy? The better Jacksonville plan is a walk in the park compared to this.
I would love it because, as Tom Petway once said, there are no problems, there are just opportunities. and I think what's going to happen July 1 is there are enormous challenges, but there are enormous opportunities, and that's just one. And it's not just about a stadium. It's about the redevelopment of downtown. It's about the redevelopment of neighborhoods. It's about a vibrancy.
A new lease with the team.
I think it's an extraordinary opportunity. She's indicated she wants to bring in great talent. I think that's the right thing to do. She's going to bring in that expertise to make sure that as a fiduciary that we're at the bargaining table and represented appropriately, but they're not the enemy. This is a partnership with the Jaguars, and this renovation is important in many, many ways for downtown, for the sports complex, for the redevelopment of the surrounding areas in the east side. So that is just one of many things, but huge challenges, huge opportunities. She needs to assemble the talent to get it done, and I think she can communicate it well. So it's going to be an exciting time, but challenging.
The city of Jacksonville just sent out a tweet congratulating Deegan. The post says, "We look forward to your leadership and vision as you help guide our city into the future. Thank you for your oath and commitment to all of our citizens."
Well, and I think that's important, Mary. I mean, that transition, that communication between the outgoing administration and the incoming administration is just vital. Back in 2015, even though Mayor Brown had lost a hard-fought contest to now Mayor Curry, he made it very clear, and our administration was very devoted to making sure that we offered a strong transition so that the new mayor could get off to the best start possible. And we've seen that time and time again. When we came into office, Mayor Payton and his administration were exceptionally gracious and generous to help make sure that we got off to the best start possible.
It's so encouraging after what we've seen, what we've been through in this ugly campaign.
Well, and I certainly hope and have every reason to believe that Mayor Curry and his team will do the exact same thing for Mayor-elect Deegan and her team as they're coming. It's just so important to be able to pass the baton from one administration to the next administration so that a mayor makes sure that their successor has the best possible chance of success.
We love you guys' optimism. It's been great.
Thank you.
And keep watching our special election coverage. We'll have a recap on the biggest races.
And some final thoughts from our roundtable of experts next. As we wind down our special Vote 2023 coverage of Jacksonville city election, let's take another look at some of tonight's key races.
Yeah, Donna Deegan, she will be Jacksonville's next mayor. The Democrat defeated Republican Daniel Davis 52% to 48%.
In the race for property appraiser, Democrat Joyce Morgan is on track to defeat Republican Jason Fisher. They're about 2,700 votes apart as we wait for final mail-in votes to be counted up.
And there was one city council race on everyone's ballot at large. District 5, Republican Chris Miller defeated Democrat Charles Garrison 52% to 48%.
We thank you for joining us for our special coverage of Vote 2023, Jacksonville's election night.
Kent and Joy will be back in an hour, as well as our roundtable of experts for the 10 o'clock news.
From Channel 4, the local station, this is a Vote 2023 update.
Hello again, everyone. It has now been just over an hour since the outcome of tonight's race for mayor became clear. Democrat Donna Deegan will be Jacksonville's next mayor.
She defeated Republican Daniel Davis 52% to 48% with a margin of about 8,000 votes. Deegan will take office July 1st. Here's what Deegan and Davis told their supporters tonight.
I made a decision when I got into this race that no matter what happened, no matter what the landscape looked like, we were going to lead with love over fear. Yes. We would not go with division. We would go with unity.
I did exactly what I know I was supposed to do. I was living life with purpose, caring about the citizens of Jacksonville. And what we're going to do next is make sure that Mayor-elect Donna Deegan is successful doing the exact same thing.
In the race for property appraiser, Democrat Joyce Morgan is on track to defeat Republican Jason Fisher. They're about 2,700 votes apart as we wait for final mail-in votes to be counted up.
And there was one city council race on everyone's ballot at large. District 5, Republican Chris Miller defeated Democrat Charles Garrison 52% to 48%.
There were 6 city council district races decided tonight. You can find all of those results on News4JAX.com. The party balance on the council will remain the same, with 14 Republicans and 5 Democrats.
And ahead on the 10 o'clock news, we'll have live reports from the Deegan and Davis election night events and more analysis from our election night roundtable. For now, we return you to regular programming.